Have you heard Apple is planning to move its supply chain out of China? Apple's new plans have sent shockwaves through the tech industry, with many people worried about what this could mean for one of the biggest brands in the world. After a long and repeated history of problems between Apple and its production centers in China, which are run by Chinese manufacturing companies, Apple's decision has repercussions for their own employees and for the economy as a whole. Tensions are high as workers get ready for this upcoming change. It's unclear how much will change because of Apple's latest move, and many people are asking, what does this all mean? Hello, and welcome to Primetime TV. But before we continue with the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get more amazing content. Now, let's get this video started. US smartphone giant Apple Incorporated is speeding up its plans to move some of its production lines from China to other Southeast Asian countries like India and Vietnam. Once companies realize the risks of putting most of their production in China, the move will have a big effect on the global supply chains. Analysts think that China's zero-COVID policy, which has slowed down some of its supply chains, and the country's weakening economy will be the main reasons for the move. Will India be the world's future powerhouse? As a result of China's antivirus policies, many companies, including Apple, have had to take steps to make sure their supply chains don't get messed up. Even though China plans to ease COVID restrictions, there is still a lot of uncertainty. This is because China's policies have changed quickly in the past, which is one reason why Apple moved its production lines quickly to other countries. India is seen by many companies, including Apple, as the world's next powerhouse. This is because the cost of labor and land in India is 1/5 of what it is in China. This shows that companies are becoming more concerned about the environment in China. And it's not just because of COVID. When we think about the theft of intellectual property, cyber attacks on Chinese businesses, and the strict rules the Chinese government puts on data flows, there are many things that make China a much less attractive place for manufacturers to do business. So, will Apple's move start a chain reaction? If Apple is successful at exporting products from India, where it made a small number of iPhone 14s, more companies may follow its lead. The Wall Street Journal reported, citing sources, that Apple has told its suppliers to plan more aggressively for assembling its products elsewhere in Asia, especially in India and Vietnam. This is to reduce Apple's reliance on China-based assemblers, led by Taiwan-based Foxconn's Zhengzhou facility. A report says that Apple is worried about having so much business tied up in the plant, which made about 85% of the iPhone Pro series. This is because the plant's 300,000 workers are having trouble with antivirus measures and salary issues. Apple's long-term goal is for India to ship between 40% and 45% of iPhones, which would be a big jump from the current 1%. Will Apple benefit from the transition? India does have some benefits, like the fact that it makes a lot of engineers, but Apple has to think about a lot of other things, like culture, expectations, work practices, and so on. So they can't just take something from one country and put it in another. They have to find out what's going on in the region and get the local government involved. Who knows, that could hurt. Also, companies like Foxconn are good at running production, but the way costs are set up in India will be different. So some of Apple's plans to diversify its supply chains may still happen in China, where Foxconn is said to be planning to grow at its Taiyuan plant in the northern Shaanxi province. India's biggest problem is finding the best way to increase the number of suppliers it has for Apple. Costs go down, not just because of low wages, but because of how things are made as a whole. So India will have a lot of problems to deal with. One is to build a local network of suppliers who can help with production and keep costs down. And then, on a larger scale, making sure that India has a highly skilled, well-trained workforce with people who know how to build complex electronics like iPads and phones. What will this mean for China? The process of moving will take some time, and it won't happen right away, but the move will hurt China's economy and cause more people to lose their jobs. We think China will still be an important place for Apple to make things in the future, and they will find a better way to deal with this problem. As businesses continue to adapt to a world that is changing quickly, it is important that they stay flexible enough to take advantage of new opportunities. Apple seems ready to do this. We can only guess what might happen as a result of Apple leaving China. We don't yet know what effects this move will have, but it's clear that the business world is always changing. With more competition and lower entry costs in many new regions, it's clear that we live in a business world where decisive action can make all the difference for companies trying to do well. And that brings us to the end of today's video. What are your thoughts on Apple leaving China? Do you believe it's a viable solution? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your time. We'll see you later.